I'm Gene Bosler. I'm in Cypress, Texas, and the month is March. Usually pine bark beetles don't attack trees smaller than 8 inches in diameter. Now that's not hard and fast, and I know that's probably based on a totally erroneous observation, but this little guy has a pitch tube right here, and I don't really have permission to dig around to see how fresh it is, but the sawdust at the base hasn't washed away. So there's also some emergence holes, so it's probably been this way for a little while. There's another one on this side, see it? This one seems a little fresher, but I can't say. This is a Myoplatypus ambrosia beetle on the outside of the plant. That's native, that's post-mortem. He has every business being here. He moves in. His sawdust is usually a little blonder than this. Let's see if I can find another one and focus in on him. I don't know. I kind of tend to think that they're a little faster moving than your Ips calligraphus, for example. But I would blame these smaller holes probably on that Myoplatypus that I saw for a fleeting moment. There's one. Nope, that's not one. Okay, so this is a 2-minute video. Maybe I can, I'll pause it, and there might be a part 2 to this if I see anything. I just want to point out that a newly planted pine is vulnerable too, so let me show you something here. Let me go back to my car before I stop this video. Let me go back to the car and show you something about the planting and why this ties in to increased susceptibility when it comes to a newly planted pine. We usually don't think of newly planted pines as being super vulnerable to pine bark beetles. But see, you can hide a lot with mulch, but you got to put it on thicker than this. You ain't hiding it very well. The fact that you put 0 organic matter in here at the time of installing this bed and putting in these grasses, the Indian hawthorns, the live oak, and the pines. So, if you're going to conceal your wicked ways, put in a thicker layer of mulch. So, this is not a lesson on doing things half-assed. Let me go back to this tree. I'm pulling away, and I'm finding I don't have time to go delineating the transition zone between the root ball and the parent soil, but here is some sand and here is clay. So clay, or maybe I should call it backfill. Let me try to get more of a core here. Look how blonde this is. Even blonder than the last core I did. So underneath this mulch there ain't much vis-a-vis topsoil, organic matter, porosity. Need I point out that there's really no soil biology either. So even if you're planting in the off season, you have even if you're planting in the off season, you do have susceptibility to pine bark beetles, and you need to keep that in mind. One, to 3 newly dead transplants. Now this one, it's still got a little spot of green in it. That doesn't mean it's dead. It just means it hasn't turned brown yet. Pretty common with pine tree. Let's go look at it real quick. Sawdust, but no pitch tubes, or at least none that I can see. Pretty scarred up at the base though. That's probably not the only 3 that are going to die here. Feel free to leave your comments. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to show you one last thing before I shut it off. Construction backfill. 1 inch of sod. They tamped it down, but they didn't put down their obligatory 2 inches of topsoil here. So the only organic content that this sod has is what it came with on the pallet. This is junk. So they're going to have a lot of problems with their grass too. So again, you can conceal a lot with a healthy layer of mulch. And I guess that's my last point. Thank you very much.